You plot ahead of time?
I do. So I didn't when I started writing many, many years ago, but for many years now, I have been writing in such a way that I think up the story in my head and work on the entire story in my head. And then in many cases, I will work on the story and find that it fails halfway through, or it doesn't have an interesting ending, or actually I've just created an entire story that's already been told many times or whatever, but I'll discover its weaknesses and I'll throw that out. Okay. I'll often work on 3 or 4 different story ideas at once in my head, and just while I'm going about my life. And then I'll throw out the weakest ones and I'll start focusing on one, and I'll get the whole story mapped out in my head. And then if I see it and I look at it while it's still in my head and I say, okay, if you do a good job writing that, that's going to be a decent story. And if I can get it to that point, then I sit down and I say, okay, part 1, these chapters, part 2, these chapters, here's the climax, here's the ending. So I outline the whole thing. And then once I've done all that, I start at chapter 1 and I just write it as fast as I can. Rough draft.
Gotcha. And I hear that you're saying, if I do this right, if I manage to pull this off, but 69 weeks on the bestseller list, you don't have any kind of cockiness to say, hey, it's Robert Beatty time. I got this.
No, not at all. No. Let's see. So on the first book, I had nothing but failure up to that point. On the second book, I was utterly terrified because I thought, okay, I wrote one good book, so I achieved my goal. Now I've got another, I need to write another one. How am I possibly going to do that? I was scared to death writing Serafina book 2, which is Serafina and the Twisted Staff. And I wrote it and I just said, because of the time crunch, I was under a severe time crunch, much more so than any book I've written. I just said, okay, you can't second guess yourself. Even though you're scared, you don't have time to second guess yourself or to double back or to have fear. You need just to plow through it and hope for the best. So that's what I did. And that did succeed. Now on the third one, at that point, I said, okay, you got this. Now let's up your game. You've proven that you were able to write 2 bestsellers, 2 stories that people liked. So what can you do in this third book? What have you learned and what can you do to make it even better this time? And so on my third one, I think I enjoyed myself the most because I felt like, okay, you are a storyteller. People are wanting to read your book. They're waiting for you to finish it. So do the best job you can. And so I really enjoyed writing Serafina and the Splintered Heart. That's the third book. And my daughters and I had a ball coming up with the plot. It has many twists and turns and reveals and betrayals. And our strategy was something striking or revelatory needs to happen in every single chapter. So every chapter you need to go, oh no, or oh my God, what's going to happen now? So every chapter is a twist or a turn or a new revelation. And so that was a fun one to write.